14 is here, and we are taking a look at a Bears rooting guide, as the Bears are obviously the number one seed in the NFC heading into this weekend's games. Obviously, Bears-Packers is our sole focus, or our primary focus, but we'll be scoreboard watching as well, and we'll take a look at some other games on the slate for Sunday and Monday and who we should be cheering for in those matchups. Obviously, this is how the playoff picture sits right now. It's pretty simple for the Bears this week. If they win again, they will stay at the number one seed. If they lose, they will fall to the 7th seed because the 49ers are off. Both teams would have 9-4 records, and Chicago would fall to the 7th seed, while San Francisco would jump up to the 6th. All right, let's get into the Bears rooting guide. Let's start with the team we're rooting for the most. That is the Chicago Bears as they head up to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers this Sunday. Packers have held firm most of the week, 6.5-point favorites as we're filming this late in the week. Over-under sitting at 44.5. Temperatures in the low mid-teens at best. I would guess the wind chill in single digits, maybe even negative by the time the sun goes down. Obviously, priority number one this weekend is handling business, beating the Packers. We've talked about it all week. The pressure is more on Green Bay because Green Bay next week has to go to Denver. The Bears return home to face Cleveland. Nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. Myles Garrett is capable of wrecking a game, but if you can find a way to win this game and go home and beat the Browns, that basically makes that Denver game a must-win for the Packers to stay in the division race. So you got a huge opportunity here to apply pressure on the Packers here this Sunday. If you want the Bears to beat the Packers, it is Packers Hate Week. Get the FGBs rolling down in the comment section below. F Green Bay, you know the drill. Let's make it happen. All right, let's dive into some other matchups for this week as we go through our Bears rooting guide. The Seahawks at the Falcons. Producer Cullen's not going to like me on this one, but he understands from a Bears perspective. Seahawks at Falcons. Obviously, we're rooting for a Falcons win. Why? Because the Falcons are not in the mix. So any team that's playing an NFC contender, you're rooting for the other team, whether it's an AFC team or whether it's a non-competitive NFC team. It is a road game for Seattle, so you never know. Feels like the energy is sucked out of Atlanta after not being able to beat the freaking Jets last week. But you know, their pass rush has been pretty good. Does Sam Darnold get a little sped up? Is Seattle caught looking ahead to the Rams in a couple of weeks? Who knows? I wouldn't bet on it, but we're obviously big Falcons fans this weekend because it could affect seeding for division winners if Seattle and the Bears were to win their divisions, or the wild card seeding as well if the Bears end up in the wild card mix. All right, we'll take a look at some other games coming up here in just a moment. But first, we got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is PrizePicks. Daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, hockey games. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. That is PrizePicks. New feature alert on PrizePicks. Early payouts are available. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, now you may have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. The way you play PrizePicks is simple. You choose 2 or more players, regardless of sport, and take more or less on the stat projections available. Passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns, fantasy score, points, rebounds, assists in basketball, goals and assists in hockey and soccer. It's all out there. Check it out today. 2-player lineup for me this upcoming week. DeAndre Swift, I'm taking more than half a touchdown rushing or receiving. That's a demon play. Those are tougher to hit, increases the payout. I took less on Jordan Love's 212.5 passing yards. Why? Because it's going to be really freaking cold. So $20 to win 80 on this 2-player lineup. Check it out today. Download the PrizePicks app. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, Saints at Buccaneers. The Saints suck. The Bucs, are in the mix for division, potentially wild card. This one's lower leverage, but we still want the Saints to win. And why is that? Because if there's a scenario where you run into the NFC South champion, I'd rather that team be Carolina. I'll take my chances with Bryce Young and the Panthers over Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. And by the way, Mike Evans is getting back and healthy. If Baker gets more healthy, Bucky Irving is back. The Bucs could be getting some key pieces back. I just think they have a much higher ceiling as a team. And there is a world where the Bears could be like the 5 seed and have to travel to play the 4 seed, which would be the Bucs or the Panthers. Again, I'd much rather go to Carolina than Tampa Bay. So we are big Saints fans on Sunday in that NFC South matchup. Okay, a couple more here. Rams at Cardinals. So NFC West game. Arizona is just kind of off the rails at this point, but I do still think they're a capable football team. Road divisional games are never gimmies. We said it a minute ago. Are the Rams looking ahead to Detroit next week? Seattle in a couple weeks? The only reason I doubt that is because the Rams did just lose on the road to Carolina. So you would think this would be a get-right game. But Jacoby Brissett's had some good games. Maybe he can catch a heater. They're playing at home. You never know. Clearly, we would love Arizona to win this game. I'm not expecting that. You already caught a break with the Panthers beating the Rams last week. But clearly, if Arizona wins, that's a good thing for Chicago. Subscribe and join us this Sunday. Bears-Packers live watch party at 2 o'clock Central as we're heading to Lambeau Field. We being the Bears will be here in studio, obviously. Live at 2 o'clock. That's almost an hour and a half pregame show, getting you guys ready for kickoff. A lot of cool things for this watch party as well. You're not going to want to miss it. Be sure to join us on Sunday. Okay, lastly, we got the Eagles at the Chargers, and some news coming in, by the way. Jalen Carter not going to play in this game. Sounds like Justin Herbert will, so that's kind of a double whammy against Philadelphia. The Eagles have been struggling. They really struggled against the Bears last week. Now they have a cross-country flight to play a Chargers team. Both teams 8-4, big game for both. Not only are we rooting for a Chargers win, I kind of like a Chargers win in this spot. If Justin Herbert can be mostly functional with that left wrist injury he has, he had a surgery on it this past week or earlier in the week, then I like the Chargers in this spot. I just do not like how the Eagles are vibing right now. And if the Eagles were to lose this game, they're in trouble not only in their division and they're basically out of the mix to get the number 1 seed, but Dallas could be closing in and could overtake them entirely. So definitely rooting for the Chargers. I think it would basically eliminate the Eagles from being in the mix to get the number 1 seed. So there you have it, our Bears Week 14 rooting guide as we're looking for, obviously, Chicago to beat Green Bay on Sunday. We would love Atlanta to upset Seattle. We would love I'm an idiot. We want the Saints to beat Tampa. That's a typo on my part. You guys know the drill. We talked through it. Rams at Cardinals. We want Arizona to win. And then the Eagles at the Chargers. We would love the Chargers to win. Shout out Colin with the correction there with the Saints win on that one. Let's be honest, the Bucs are winning. That's why we probably typed it that way. But that's what we're rooting for here on Sunday. All right, fill in the blank. When it's all said and done, the Bears will end up with the number blank seed in the NFC. Got to make the playoffs first. So hopefully they can do that. But, man, the fact that we're talking about the 1 seed is a possibility. Pretty freaking cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for Chicago Bears now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this episode. More to come on a daily basis here. Updates, injury news, game previews, and a whole lot more. So do not miss out. Subscribe today. And as always, bear down.